Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. For the past 3 years, I've been paying $2,500 a month toward the rent of an apartment my wife and I live in. I never thought twice about it. Housing is expensive, and I wanted us to have a nice place. I work hard, and though it's not cheap, I saw it as an investment in our comfort. My wife also has a job, but her earnings aren't significant, so I took on the bulk of the financial responsibility. However, after 3 years, I started feeling like I was just throwing money away. Instead of spending $2,500 a month on rent, why not put that money toward a mortgage? I decided it was time for us to buy a place. I began searching for homes in our area and, out of curiosity, checked if our apartment complex had any units for sale. To my shock, I found our exact apartment listed on the market. I figured this was perfect. Maybe we could just buy the place we were already living in. It would save us the hassle of moving, and we already loved the space. I didn't say anything to my wife at first because I wanted it to be a surprise. My plan was to negotiate the price and then tell her once I had some numbers on paper. I contacted the real estate agent listed on the site, but they told me their agreement with the owner had ended, and I need to contact the owner directly. Then they gave me the owner's contact information. That's when my entire world started to fall apart. The phone number they gave me was my wife's number. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. I was the one sending money every month, and I saw the owner of our apartment a couple of times. Confused, I decided to test the situation. I asked my work colleague to call the number and request a viewing, pretending to be a potential buyer. My wife answered. She confirmed she was the owner of the apartment and agreed to set up a viewing and suggested a time that just so happened to be when I was supposed to be at work. It made me even more confused. That was enough for me. I decided to go to the showing myself. When I arrived at the apartment for the viewing, my wife's eyes nearly popped out of her head. She tried to play it cool, pretending like I had just come home from work unexpectedly. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I'm here to view the apartment for sale." She stammered, trying to act confused. "What? No, that must be a mistake. This is our apartment. We're renting." I cut her off. "Then why did the real estate agent give me your number as the owner?" At that moment, she knew she was caught. Her face drained of color, and she struggled to find words. Finally, after a long silence, she confessed. She admitted that she owned the apartment. But what made my blood run cold was how she got the money to buy it. It was a gift from my ex, she finally admitted, avoiding eye contact. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Your ex bought you an entire apartment?" She nodded, but insisted that it wasn't what I thought. It was before we got married. He just wanted to help me out. I wasn't buying it. I just couldn't believe her ex-boyfriend just gifted her an entire apartment out of generosity. Also, she told me about all her ex-boyfriends, and none of them were rich enough to give such expensive gifts. Something wasn't adding up. If she lied about this, what else was she lying about? At that moment, I had two choices: confront her and risk covering her tracks, or pretend to believe her and dig deeper. I chose the latter. I took a deep breath, forced a small smile, and said, "I believe you. I just wish you told me earlier." She looked relieved. Over the next few days, I pretended to let the matter go, acting as if I had accepted her explanation. I brought her flowers, cooked dinner, and even apologized for doubting her. All the while, I was waiting for the right moment to investigate further. So when things calmed down, I decided to check her phone. In the middle of the night, when she was hard asleep, I carefully took her phone from her nightstand, my hand shaking. I knew the passcode. She never changed it. My heart pounded as I unlocked it and opened her messages. What I found made me sick to my stomach. Her messages were filled with exchanges between her and another man, romantic, intimate, and filled with details about me. He's so clueless, babe. He still thinks he's paying rent. He said he wants to buy an apartment. Maybe I should sell it to him for double the price. Love you, my king. They even had pictures together in our bed. Photos of them on dates while she had told me she was working late. She had been feeding me lie after lie while living a double life right under my nose. Essentially, I had been unknowingly funding my wife's life with another man. I was the fool, sending thousands of dollars each month, covering costs that ultimately benefited her and her lover. The rage I felt was indescribable. I knew I needed to do something, but I wanted to hit them where it hurt. Reporting them to the authorities was the only logical step. I gathered all the financial records, proof of rent payments, bank transfers, and property listing, and even texts from my wife about the gift from her ex. Then, I reported them both to the IRS for tax fraud. Why? Because if she received a gift large enough to buy an apartment, it should have been reported. If her lover was renting it out under his name and collecting money, that was undeclared income. Either way, they were screwed. Now, my wife is furious. She says I went too far, and that I'm ruining an innocent man's life over a misunderstanding. Her affair partner is panicking because he might be investigated for unreported income and tax evasion. Meanwhile, I've packed my things and filed for divorce. Now, my soon-to-be ex-wife is desperately trying to salvage her situation, but the damage is done. Her lover and herself are both under investigation. My friends are split. Some say I was justified. She betrayed me, used my money to support another man, and lied for years. Others say I should have just left and not gone nuclear with the report. So, Reddit. Am I the a-hole for reporting my wife and her affair partner to the tax authorities after discovering I was unknowingly paying rent for their apartment? OP did exactly what needed to be done. This wasn't just cheating, it was straight up fraud. She let OP believe OP was paying rent when OP was actually paying her while she lived rent-free and spent time with her side guy. And then, they joked about selling OP the apartment for double the price. They clearly think OP is stupid. Nah, that's criminal behavior. Reporting them was the perfect revenge. Actions have consequences, and they're just mad because they got caught. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Okay, so I 100% agree that what your wife did was disgusting. The deception, the cheating, the financial aggression. It's all next-level scumbag behavior. But I do wonder, was reporting them to the IRS worth it? You could have walked away clean and left them in the dust, and now you might get dragged into their mess legally. Not saying you're the a-hole, but you really went DEFCON 1 when a simple divorce would have been enough. That said, I'd still bring popcorn to watch the fallout. Not the a-hole. In fact, I salute you, my guy. Your wife thought she could scam you out of thousands of dollars for years and just walk away unscathed? Absolutely not. She effed around, and now she's finding out. And the fact that she had the audacity to try to gaslight you after getting caught? Yeah, no sympathy here. 10 out of 10 execution. This is the kind of revenge I live for. Hope the IRS enjoys their new case file. Your wife was out here calling another dude my king, while using your money to keep the kingdom running? Not only that, but she had the sheer audacity to list the apartment for sale like you weren't going to find out? This isn't just cheating. This is elite-level villain behavior. Like Netflix needs to make a documentary on this level of deception. Not the a-hole. You didn't just burn the bridge. You launched a nuclear missile at it. And honestly, deserved. Back in March, I had my gender reveal party at a hall. My husband and I paid for catering, decorations, desserts, centerpieces, and candy for Candy Buffet. The only thing we didn't do was the signs, which one of my brothers took care of, as he is good with woodworking. My eldest brother has two, older 12 and 13, children from his previous relationship, then got married and now has two more little ones, under 10. I've never met his new wife. They just eloped in March, and none of my family has met her. They are now 18 weeks pregnant and will find out about the baby's gender in a few weeks. I was talking to my dear husband, and we decided to gift them $800. My elder brother asked if we could throw him and his wife a gender reveal party instead at the same hall we did ours at. I said it was a little more than $800, considering the hall rental deposits, desserts, candy buffet, catering, baby shower favors, centerpiece flowers. I do have most of the stuff saved: centerpiece jars, tablecloths, candy buffet jars, and some games from the party. But he even wants a backdrop which my friend did for me for free. She would charge him $150 for this since he is family. He said he really wants this, and if everyone paid for it, we can make it happen. I suggested a smaller venue or even a luxury picnic. I have the decorations for that, and would be more than happy to set aside a portion of what we were going to give him from the $800 for the catering. He was taken aback, as he thought we were going to give him the $800 on top of the party. He said, "Stop being cheap. You guys have the money, and you have never done anything nice for me and my kids." This is true. I was going to university when he had his children, so I was always broke. But I'm not working at the moment. I'm on maternity leave, so checks are small and the money is coming from my husband, who is not really close to my oldest brother. He called me a cheap a-hole and said I have money saved up, so stop holding back. Now, I don't want to give him anything, and my other brothers don't want to give him anything either. Am I the a-hole if I don't give him anything at all now for his crummy attitude? Not the a-hole, and he can take his entitled, ungrateful butt out of here. I wouldn't give him anything. What? Not the a-hole. You don't owe your brother an expensive gender reveal party. If my brother pulled any of that, I'd say, "Oh, actually, my financial planner says it's best to set up a 529 for the kid. We'll do that once the baby is here. And make sure none of the money is accessible to someone with such terrible priorities in life." Not the a-hole. If he can't even afford his own party, how the F can he afford a fifth child? Your brother sounds entitled and a little too eager to spend other people's money. Plus, he's been keeping tabs on what you have or haven't spent on his kids for years. What an absolute a-hole. My wife and I have been married since September of last year. Before that, we dated for 4 years, so we've been together for a while now. Living together for 2 years. We've been talking seriously about having kids and stuff, as far as our future together. Then this harkened, and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do about it. Last night, my wife and I went out to dinner with a couple that are our friends. We do this every now and then. My wife had a few glasses of wine, which was normal for her. Then, before we left, she asked to do some shots with everyone. Very out of character. She doesn't really like liquor, let alone shots. On the way home, she asked if I wanted to get another bottle of wine, because I was driving, so I hadn't had much to drink up to that point. So I stopped and got us some wine, and we just sat there in our living room and talked and drank wine. After a while, she started to get emotional, and I was confused, so I just tried comforting her. She kept telling me, "I don't deserve you," and "You're too good for me," and stuff like this, which made me feel good, but also made me feel sad that she was crying. I told her nonsense, that we deserve each other, and then she says, "But you don't understand." And at this point, she was acting very strangely, so I attributed her emotions to her drunken state. She made me promise I wasn't going to get mad at her, and she told me she had something she had wanted to tell me for a really long time now, but she never knew how to say it and never thought it was a good time. By this point, I just felt terrible because I hate secrets, and she was like tinkering back and forth with telling me this secret. Eventually, she said okay, made me promise again that I wouldn't yell or get upset. I promised. Literally nothing could have prepared me for this. She told me that the night of our wedding reception, she hooked up with her ex-boyfriend. A guy who is very much so still involved in her life as a friend, or as far as I know. I mean, she has hung out with him without me since we've been married, and I've hung out with him too. He is one of our friends, and he also is in a relationship, so all of this was a lot for me to process. They dated all throughout college, so before we really started getting to know each other, but they remained friends even when we did. Initially, when she told me this, I just thought she was messing with me, some sort of weird joke or something. But she just started crying more and apologizing. She kept saying she loved me and that it was a huge mistake, and she regretted it and wanted to take that secret to her grave because she loved me so much. But she wanted to tell me because the guilt was eating her alive. I asked her for clarification on what hooked up meant, and I said, "Just please tell me you didn't have sex with him." And she just looked away and cried more. I didn't really know what to say or do, so I just went over to her and hugged her and comforted her. And she asked why I wasn't mad, and I didn't have an answer, so I didn't say anything. I took her to bed, and we had sex that she initiated. I fell asleep after, and I just sort of laid there thinking. I packed a small bag and I went to my dad's house, and I've been here ever since. I haven't answered her calls or texts, and I've only spoken to one friend about it. Haven't told my dad. I feel like I should be angry, but I'm not. I don't really feel anything but sadness. I feel sort of betrayed, but that's about it. Is this something I should let just kind of pass by us? Should I end our relationship? I mean, I love her and she had enough respect to tell me, so I feel like she knows she made a mistake or did something wrong. What should I do about this situation? I don't feel right being around her at the moment, and I know I should be really angry, but I'm mainly just sad. Haven't been able to eat or anything since then. I'm sort of just crushed. How should I move forward from here? She cheated on your wedding night, the most important night of your relationship. She's still in contact with him all this time later? She let you be friends with this guy knowing what they did. The fact this guy is still in her life is insane. Yeah, duck that. She made vows to you and less than 12 hours broke them. Her first sexual experience as your wife was with another man. Repeat that until you have enough clarity to call a lawyer. This is the worst betrayal I've seen on here. There are no excuses for this, none. It was a choice. He will always be the one that ducked your wife first, and he knows it. Instead of being with her husband, your wife, for some reason, had him with her while you went to bed, then ducked him while you were upstairs. She started off your marital life on a lie and then lied every day since. There's no coming back from that. The manipulating to get you to promise not to be mad, have you comfort her, then initiate sex with you like all is forgiven without giving you a minute to process is so gross. She is the worst. Sadly, no update, guys. I hope OP divorced his wife, but to be honest, I have a feeling he didn't. Do you have the same feeling as me, guys? I, 32 female, know my husband, 39 male, is cheating on me. It's with his friend's daughter. She's so young it's disgusting, but I can't bring myself to end it with him. In my head, that's how she'll win. I don't want her to win. I don't want her to know I know. I hate seeing her try to pretend like she doesn't hate me and seeing me with him. We just went to a wedding 2 days ago, and the way they tried to avoid each other was such a joke. If I break up with him, everyone will know. It will make everything easier for them, I guess, all out in the open. The embarrassment will be unreal. Everyone will talk, and I know I'll be compared against her. She's prettier, smarter, probably going to be more successful than me eventually. She could have a million boys her age, but she decided she had to have him. I honestly never knew how good of an actress I was until this. This isn't sustainable, but I can't bring myself to end it. I almost want to make him do it, make him admit it. I feel like I'm spiraling. I just want him to own up to what he's doing. It will still be disgusting and unreal, but at least he can try to be a man. I don't know what I'm looking for. I just feel like I'm living a surreal nightmare, where everything is almost normal, but it's all wrong. It's not a competition, and if it was, your husband certainly isn't a trophy to be won. He's gross, lacks respect, and doesn't love you. You need to leave. Your pride? Your pride demands that you leave him first. You're going to let yourself be dumped by a cheating crap bag? No. Get a lawyer and blow this up. Anyone asks, tell them exactly how disgusting he is. Right now, you're just cutting off your nose to spite your face. You need to change your point of view on the situation. Instead of seeing him as an embarrassment on yourself and her as the shiny new toy who is so much better, see it from the outside. It is embarrassing for your husband and her. They should be the ones embarrassed, not only for sneaking around, but because it shows how untrustworthy they are as people. If I had a friend who did that, I would cut them off. If you can cheat on your spouse, who is supposed to be the person you're most loyal to, what would you do to a friend or family member? People see it differently. Don't be embarrassed. Update. This is my 33rd birthday. My husband posted a photo of the two of us smiling and laughing, and I reposted it, and then I realized that it was all so pathetic and fake and weird. I'm going to talk to him tonight. I'm going to tell him I know all about it, that I don't want to be with him anymore, putting on an act. I know a lot of people are saying to go to the girl's parents. She's 18 or 19. I'm not sure which, but when I was her age, I considered myself an adult, and she certainly is behaving like one. And so I think it's inevitable that her parents will hear about this on their own. And when they do, it'll be up to her to deal with the repercussions like an adult. Update 2. Last night, I, 33 female, called my husband, 39 male, and told him I canceled my birthday dinner reservations, that I wanted to have a serious talk with him. When he came home, I didn't beat around the bush. I know about you and X. I deserve better than this. I want a divorce. He didn't try to deny it. He just kept saying okay and giving me short answers. I asked if he loved her. He said yes. I asked how long it's been going on. He said a while. Pre-pandemic? Yes. I asked why he didn't just end it with me. He said the timing has never been right. He's referring to medical procedures our daughter has needed, I assume. We've been dealing with that for a few years. Even though I knew about the affair, a lot of this came as a shock. I got upset. I told him to get his stuff and get out of the house. He had an overnight bag already packed, so I don't know what to think about that. I asked where he was going to live. He admitted he had a place he's been paying for out of his business funds. So he's been hiding an entirely separate apartment from me. After he left, things blew up. I had no intention of telling the girl's parents, but I guess he went over there and picked her up, or she told them or something. Her mother called me about an hour after he left, crying. I told her the truth, that I had no idea where his other place was, and I didn't have any other info about this. I don't think he'll drag out the divorce. We both know the most custody he can get of the kids would be weekends. He can't handle taking care of them longer than that. My finances are in order, and the kids will stay with the house, so I will too. I feel like a bomb is dropped. My kids are used to their father being away on business, so they just think he's on another trip. I don't know what I'm going to tell them when they realize it's more than that, but I'll figure that out when I get in a better headspace. I haven't told anyone about this personally. I'm sure people have heard, but I hope it will be nice to not have to hide this. I know this sounds silly, but my friend's husband seems to hate the fact that I help my friend when I see her struggling. Like last Tuesday, I went to their house to help because she called me to say that she hadn't slept or showered for like a week, as she is struggling from being a new mother. Since I had the day off, I went over with some meals I prepped the night before and groceries. When I arrived, the house was a bombshell. My friend was exhausted, and the baby was too. So I made her a plate, fed and bathed the baby, let her and baby sleep. Then I went and cleaned the house. I left before her husband arrived. I've done this several times before, basically anytime she calls me for help. She has really been struggling with being a mother, and bonding with her 6-month-old has been an uphill battle. So I help her by shopping, cleaning, and cooking, which obviously gives her more time to bond with the baby instead of worrying about household stuff. But it seems every time I come over and do things for her and baby, her husband loses his crap. He makes her feel so crappy for needing help. And now he has directly told me that I make him feel like a jerk, and he says he feels like I'm butting into his life. I really don't. I always try to leave before he comes home because I know it upsets him. And at this point, I feel like he wants to push me around for not letting her fall apart. I've tried sharing this with my friend, but she wouldn't hear me, or she can't because she's covered in a cloud of sadness and depression right now, and I don't push her. She's in therapy and receives adequate medical care, but sometimes it gets a bit too much. So I help in the ways that she needs. Like, I can't change her life, but she can at least not worry about a messy house or cooking dinner, etc. I also don't plan to stop picking up her calls for help, and that annoys the hell out of him. So, any advice on how I should manage her husband? Info. Me and him have very limited contact. In the last year, he has seen or spoken to me a handful of times. Every time I do come over, I make sure to leave before he arrives, so it's not like I'm in his face or crowding him. He has never asked me not to come over, but he has asked I stop doing so much for her and implied that she's lazy. You are honestly such a fantastic friend. You are literally a ray of sunshine for her. I feel like he feels crappy because he's not pulling his weight. His wife is struggling and he is making her feel guilty and getting mad at you because you are doing what he needs to do. Instead of projecting, he needs to step it up. If she's struggling so much, he needs to pick up the slack for her because that's what a partnership is, especially while she is seeking counseling. I read that you said he refuses therapy, so it seems like laziness on his part. I don't know why he would want to watch his wife struggle instead of being grateful that she has such an amazing friend like you who will step in and help his wife and baby. Honestly, good for you. She will look back on this during a time she's probably suffering from PPD and be so happy she has you in her life.